I've got no fear of death now. Yes, the body stops and decays and switches off, but the soul continues on to that next realm.
The next thing I realized is I was being lifted out of my body, and I was standing up above, and I was watching the operation. It was an odd feeling because I looked down at the table and wondered who that was first, and I recognized it was me laying there, but why was I laying there, not standing up here where I am?
When I say I, though, it was like my soul. I was moving about the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, the patients, the families of patients. I was aware, almost 360 degrees aware of everything around me. And when I say aware, wow, like everybody I saw, I felt them. I knew them. I knew their love. I knew their hate. I knew their pain, their motivations, their joys, their sorrows, until I finally came up to a body laying on the gurney that I didn't feel anything from, which was odd given this connected experience I was having. So I stepped closer to look, and that's when I realized, oh my goodness, that's me.
I remember me, Peter Anthony, looking down at Peter Anthony from spirit form, looking down at Peter Anthony in physical form on the operating table, and watching the medical staff, doctors, the anesthesiologists go to medical protocol. It was like some kind of movie and some television series where everything's just happening at once. I could hear their thoughts. I could feel the panic. I could see the fear as I'm watching myself look down at Peter Anthony. This sense of peace, this sense of okay, this sense of allowing, this sense of surrender. And as I'm looking down at Peter Anthony, I began to feel as though something attached itself to my solar plexus. And I felt myself being vacuumed towards a spinning tunnel.
I could perceive this darkness because it had a certain level of illumination. And way far, far in the distance, it was a single pinprick of light appeared. And this, like a star, like a single star in the night sky, and like the North Star, and that's all you can see. And it rushed toward me, and it filled my vision and communicated with me that I'm taking you.
I suddenly saw this tunnel of white light coming towards me. Well, I felt it before I even saw it. I felt this energy was almost like shaking my whole body, my whole being. And I thought, what's going on? And this beautiful tunnel of white light was coming closer and closer, and it was very vast.
It has some lights in it. It's a vortex, so it's moving in a circular motion. I just got swept into it very easily. I left the tunnel. It was like so fast. It was like, and it was dark mainly, but there were lights. And as I moved through this tunnel, the lights became brighter and more accented, and then I was on the other side. And I get so emotional still. I am enveloped, and I feel this tremendous love. It is so deep and so profound.
All there is love, compassion, and kindness. That, for me, was a huge lesson.
I don't know if you've ever had somebody embrace you and you realize the feeling that you get when somebody puts their arms around you, and it's an energy you don't normally feel. In our home where I was growing up, nobody ever told you, they love you. I come from a broken family, and a lot of the time I lived on the streets, so I never experienced that kind of love before in my life. But it felt good.
I lay back and closed my eyes and just bathed in this energy of healing light. Then I felt the presence of somebody close to me, and so I lifted my head and opened my eyes again, and just at my feet was this person, this androgynous being that was emanating light from within. And I was saying out loud, where do I know you from? I know you. And this person just smiled at me with a knowing smile. But I trusted it. And I felt that this person was actually here to guard me and guide me as to where I might be going next. Their hands were slowly hovering over my body, and they were going over the contours of my body without actually touching it. The energy that was coming from their hands was really powerful. It was just causing like every sort of molecule of my body to start vibrating, basically with unconditional love. And I felt that they were not only healing the injuries that my body had just been through and the whole shock of the actual accident, I felt like they were healing all the years of hurt that we all carry with us, the baggage as we call it. And I felt they were taking all those layers of baggage off me, and they were just getting down to the pure essence of my soul. And it was a liberating feeling. It was like something I'd never experienced in my whole life.
Like it knew me, it looked in me, it saw the whole of me. It showed me all of my entire life. There was no corner of me that was hidden. There was nothing that I had stuffed away from myself that I couldn't see. And I went through a hell of the bad things that I had done to people through my whole life, because everything was visible. And I could see this eye of fire looking at me and showing me my life. And it did so without judgment. It was, as it showed me myself, it was speaking without language. It was speaking love to me. It was love. I love you. I've always known you. I accept you as I make you. And as I went through this life review of hell, I experienced all the pain that I gave to other people from their point of view, not just from what I would think about how you feel, but how you actually felt and your actual thoughts. I was that person and myself simultaneously in every circumstance, experiencing from 2 points of view, my original one and theirs, in this long chronology of all the pain that I had caused in my life. And as I experienced this love that was being given to me, I had this moment of judgment, but I was not being judged. I was only being loved.
Your whole life is just there. It's like a matrix. Every second of your life, every moment of your life, everything that you forgot about, everything that you thought that no one was watching you, you see it. You see the conversations you had. You see the moments where you weren't at your best. You see yourself, not being nice to the person that worked at a pharmacy who was, the cash register attendant. You see your rudeness. You see also your kindness. You see everything that you were doing or not doing, should have done, didn't do, could have done, all before you. And I go back around here, which is very important. No judgment.
Tamara, my wife, who I knew was deceased at the scene, she was there with me, but she was very much alive, gorgeous, vibrant, but hysterical about the fact that I had to go back. She kept saying, you can't stay, you can't be here. You've got to go back. And we had a conversation about if I stayed with her, Spencer would be orphaned. And we made the choice that I was coming back. I had to come back and raise our son. We have no idea how powerful our thoughts are. I didn't have to think about, well, how do I get back? It was the intention. I'm going back. And it's almost like I was just whoosh, just like whisked.
I was asked, do you want to stay here or do you want to go back? And in that moment, I thought of my dog and my mother, and I missed them. And I said that, and like a shot, bam, I was back. I was just that quick.
I'm not afraid of dying at all. I try to maintain the space of peace and openness inside myself, connectivity to the divine.
The other question I get asked the most is the fear of death, and there's no fear. There's no guilt. There's no punishment. There's none of that. And there's no death. There's just, we continue in a different way. It's just like on the other side, there's no evil. There is absolutely no evil on the other side, because the other side is the one truth, which is love.
For me, it was more of a learning experience. I had to learn how to treat people better. The other thing I noticed was I didn't see any of my riches around me. I didn't see any of those motorhomes or boats or toys or all my cars. I didn't see any of that. The only thing I saw was how I treated people. And this has probably been one of the biggest learning experiences of my life, is to try to understand how people feel about what I'm saying to them, and to listen, because every person's journey is totally different.